It says I'm live. It didn't give me a 3, 2, 1. We've got a new system, so this is what you get. Okay, happy Tuesday and welcome to another live show. If you're new here, we call this our HamCo Roundabout, where we talk about all things Hamilton County, Indiana, from fun things, coming to town, events to take the kids, and what you can essentially buy in the area. So today we are going to talk about why Fishers didn't make the top 100 places to live, and yet once again, Carmel did. Shocker. How much does it cost to live here in Hamilton County? The article that I pulled really actually pulls Westfield. A new Carmel restaurant hit the scene and it's crushing it. There's some changes that are coming to Noblesville and Westfield, and then as always, we're going to go over Indy and HamCo stats. And then this week we are going to show you some McCordsville, Fortville homes. And as always, please leave any questions you have in the comments below. I also want to know where you are watching from. So before we start, please put your location in the comments because I just like to know where viewers are. We get a lot of calls. Probably the biggest state that we get calls from, sorry, I've got an itch on my hand, is California. But I want to know where you're viewing from. So, but I digress. Let's jump in and get started on the first topic, which is Fishers did not make the list, but Carmel did. So Livability put out a article that is the most livable places to live. I guess you could say it that way. Also, if you have watched any of our other videos, our system was not working too well, so we got a new one. I'm trying to figure out my whole, like, how is it set up? How do we look? Tell me if you can hear me, if you can't hear me. And again, if you have questions or anything, let me know. I keep touching the mic. Adam just looked at me like, stop touching the mic. Anyways, so with this new system, bear with me as I learn how to share things. So first off, we are going to share my screen. And so let's go in here. Okay. We're going to try. Okay. So here's kind of the first article. Ranked 4th best city last year, Fishers can't crack top 100 this year. What happened? Well, I did the same thing that maybe some of you are doing. I was like, how did Carmel make it? Well, I know how Carmel made it, but how did Fishers then not make it? Because in my opinion, I might be a little biased because I live in Fishers. Evie's joining the chat. Hi, Evie. Oh, no, she's going to that chair. I personally think that Fishers is just as good as Carmel. Slight variations, right? I think everybody's going to make their decision on what they like or dislike. But it starts with a video. And then it goes into, which I actually really liked this because it kind of goes into, at first glance, it appears that Fishers didn't make it. Fishers was ranked 4th on the best places to live in the U.S. list last year by livability, but didn't crack the top 100 in its 2025 annual survey. And so I think if I click on this, it should take us to that. So this is what's really interesting. So it kind of talks about what the livability criteria is, what the size, affordability, cities, and then it kind of goes into, like, you could go the score, amenities, and all different things. So you can kind of look at what that is. So like the live score, you can see here that Carmel had a 875 score, which is damn good, right? So when you would normally think of that, like, you're going to think that is honestly really, really good. So if I go back though to this article, close that. It's really interesting as I scroll down, it actually goes into how they scored it and what livability decided. Essentially, livability, editor-in-chief said a decision was made this year to include just one city, the higher scoring one, if two closely ranked cities are near each other, especially if they are in the top 10. In this case, Carmel was 872 livability rating, nudged out Fishers. So Carmel went on the scoreboard and Fishers jettisoned into the ether, which is hilarious. But if you look at Fishers, both Carmel and Fishers still have the data to back up being great places to live, but we selected the higher scoring of the two this year to recognize via the list. That was Carmel. So they did that for a bunch of different areas, which I thought was really interesting. Fisher scored 684, so it was only 10 points lower than Carmel. Of course, my whole thing, they're using an algorithm, right? And so if you go to Carmel and you ask Carmel people if they would live in Fishers, many would say, no, I love Carmel. Or they would say yes, but of course they live in Carmel, so they didn't pick Fishers. Same goes. There are people that love Fishers that would never move to Carmel. I've lived here for a very long time. I have no reason to move to Carmel. But if I was relocating here, or let's say a school or there was sorry, I was about to drink my water, squirrel. And I noticed that there was a big gap, and that would have been really funny because I would have had water all the way down my shirt. But I was drinking coffee and I'm like parched. Anyways, so there are people that are in Carmel that are like, no, I wouldn't live in Fishers and vice versa, right? But there are people, so I have a client right now, let's say works in one, but wants their kids to go to a different school, or they want that specific school for the program that they provide, then yeah, go to a different school. If you want to go to university, high school, look, you're not going to live in Fishers. I mean, you could, it's just a longer drive. You're probably going to live in Carmel, which isn't even a Carmel school, it's a private school, but you're going to live in Carmel. So it just depends, right? Depends on what your criteria is as to why you would live there or not. So let's see if when I delete that, it takes you back to just me. Hi. Okay. So then the next question I think a lot of people have is, but how much is it to technically live there? So this is where we're going to talk about that so that you can kind of understand, because Yahoo Finance put that together as to what it costs. Okay. So want to live in one of these bustling Midwest suburbs? Here's the salary you need. So I found this really interesting. One, this is Yahoo Finance. I think it is a conversation that a lot of people have, partially because when you start looking at different areas across the nation, you're not sure what it's going to cost. I would say the majority of people that are moving to the Midwest or this Hamilton County area are going to be families. I'm not saying that's to rule out the, married couples that don't have kids or retirement folk. It's really just, it's a family oriented county. There are a lot of events and everything. And that's what we talk about on this channel is what can you do in Hamilton County? That's why we called it HamCo Roundabout, is to kind of talk about, but what does that mean for you? And what does it cost to live in this area? So the article kind of goes through two of the places were suburbs of Indianapolis with growth of over 30% between 2018 and 2023, with Westfield being one. So they've indicated a suburb of Westfield, right? And because that's where a lot of people end up looking. Don't get me wrong, there's some people that would never live in the suburbs, but this is for you wanting to live in the suburbs. Population increased. It exploded. Westfield has exploded. It had a population increase of 35.3%. Income needed to live comfortably in Westfield is 112,482. So household median income currently in Westfield is really not that much higher than that, which is 119. So I found that really interesting. The median is about what it costs to live, which I think that honestly, if you look at most areas, that's about what it is. That's why there is a median price point. And that median price point. So we talk about with a lot of people that apparently there are comments. I need to read the comments. McCordsville and Fortville. Okay, so let me see. Let me try to show this. We're going to try something new. McCordsville, I did it. Okay, McCordsville and Fortville always seem to be underrated. So, or under radar. So funny, we're actually going to talk about that today because we've got that comment or we've got questions about McCordsville, Fortville many times. And so we're going to actually, that's the price point that we're going to talk about today or the stats. So definitely stay tuned. It's not here at the first part, but we're going to get to that where the stats and talk about that. So hold tight. Victor, thank you for watching, and we're gonna talk about it. And yes, Westfield has gone up in price because, well, Hamilton County, ultimately Hamilton County has gone up in price. Definitely the pandemic played a part in that. And so that's one of those things that that is just a natural stage of a community, especially that's really trying to grow. And Hamilton County, so Fishers, Noblesville, Carmel, Westfield, they're all wanting to grow. They want to make their community bigger and better and have it be thriving. And so that's the case. But yes, McCordsville and Fortville, we talk about that a lot, and I'm going to talk about that. But so this kind of shows you what the price point is, and then total cost of living annually $56,000, average home value $464,000. So $464,000, I was starting to say this when Adam told me check the comments. So I'm sorry, I got to go back to this now. That average or median price, if I have a client that say has moved to the area, and maybe this is you've moved to the area because you knew that you wanted to be in a Hamilton County school district. You bought maybe a starter home that was in the 2s or 3s, and you maybe want to get into a nicer community or neighborhood and are willing to spend a little bit more. That's where you're going to go from that 2 to 3 to that 464. That's that median. And that middle price point is really strong because that's usually where most of the houses are also priced at, which is really good because then when you want to go and sell the home, then that's a good price to be around. So I found that really interesting. The other area was Avon. It also had a huge increase. It definitely is a lower to live comfortably. It's $97,000. Average household median income is $97,000. And then the total cost of living annually is $48,000, and their price is $352,000. So if you want to be in a less expensive suburb of Indianapolis, Avon is a great area. My sister lives in Avon. She loves it. I would never move to Avon, but that's because, again, I've lived here for a long time. I love the area, not because I don't like Avon. I think Avon is great. I think there's a lot more to do in Hamilton County than there is in Avon. I'm hoping that Avon and Brownsburg, these are the places that we get a lot of questions about. And just so you know, if you ever have questions about any of these areas, please call, text, or email me. I will talk to you for days about them. But Greenwood, Greenfield, Avon, Brownsburg, Avon, Brownsburg, Plainfield, Zionsville, Lebanon, Sheridan, Pendleton, McCordsville, Fortville. Those are all areas that we get questions about a lot. Our channel, if you were a viewer of our channel, one of the things that really we focus on is Hamilton County. Not that I don't know about all the others. I do. I love Hamilton County so much. And it's a diamond in the rough when you're talking about 4 different ecosystems that are slightly different, but a lot alike, but yet have a lot of activities, tons to do with families, different types of restaurants. Like, it is just a melting pot of everything. The only thing we don't have is oceans and mountains. We have all seasons, we have all the things. So that's why I talk about Hamilton County so much, is because they've really done, especially Fishers and Carmel. Those are the 2 big ones. They've really done a lot for families or people who have, like, you move there as a first-time family and then you kind of grow with the city. And so if that's you, then we're here for you. Yes, Victor, it is right next to Fishers. And that is one of the huge benefits of living in McCordsville, Fortville, where you don't have to spend as much. But you're right next to Fishers and can visit. And so that's why we do talk. You can live in any of the other cities. You can live in Brownsburg and still come to the awesome events that are in Fishers. I don't like to drive that far. I like to be able to get to everything in 5, 10, 15 minutes. And so for those reasons, that's kind of why I love Hamilton County more, but it's not right for everybody. And so that's why when clients call us and have a conversation, I try to figure out what you want. And then we try to find that mix of what's going to be best for you. So that was a pretty interesting article. And then it goes into other cities, Minnesota, Michigan. I don't even know those cities, but I thought it was awesome that 2 cities in Indianapolis were called out, or outskirts of Indianapolis. Okay. Next topic is fun things that are coming to the area. So one of my all-time favorite restaurants in Fishers. I always hoped that it would never go anywhere else, but let's be honest, when a restaurant does really, really well, it looks at other places to go. And that's what happened here. So, unfortunately or fortunately, if you live in Carmel, then this is great for you. And if you live in Fishers, it's still here. But 1933 Lounge in Carmel just opened, and you guys, it's amazing. I don't know why it changed the screen, but as it scrolls through these pictures, it's like a bougie, like swanky bar. Their cocktails, so it's St. Elmo's. Oh my gosh, St. Elmo's cocktail sauce. So it'll punch you in the face. Like, if you want a more horseradish styled cocktail sauce, it'll just like punch you in the face and make your eyes water. And you gotta I sometimes have to hold my nose. Anyways, it's really awesome. And it's now in Carmel. And so downtown Carmel, the new 1933 Lounge in Carmel features an interior design that blends sophistication and a welcoming atmosphere, according to Craig, who's CEO and co-owner of parent company, I think it's Hughes Culinary. In a recent Q&A, Hughes detailed the vision behind the space. Again, it's really cool. Fishers is really cool. I think Carmel's got a little bit different, again, still sophisticated, but a little bit different vibe. But it's really cool. And he goes through this article. Again, this is on You Are Current, where you can get, you can kind of read the whole article, but it just talks about the type of chairs and the atmosphere and an artist that came and did stuff. Anyway, so it's really, really cool. I highly recommend it as a date night for anybody that wants to go out and kind of have a night on the town. It's really close to the Palladium and the city center area, so you can go to a show. We just went to the Palladium to see our sons sing for their school, and it's just a cool atmosphere and vibe. There's shopping that is around that area, so like you can really have a whole huge date night all in downtown Carmel and enjoy 1933. I might go there just to kind of see the vibe, the different vibe. We really love the one in Fishers. And so there you go. New restaurant, super bougie, super fun. But it'll hit your pocketbook. So be ready for that. Okay, so then the next thing that I want to talk about, or some of the things or changes that are coming to the Hamilton County area is, I got to click on it so you can actually see it. So the first thing I mentioned when we first started talking was the Fisher or Noblesville was getting some changes. So is Westfield, but Potter's Bridge Park is set to expand in northern Noblesville. There's actually a Potter's Bridge Festival that is so fun. Tons of vendors. It's always packed. I always tell people it's kind of like the Peony Festival, which is this Saturday. You need to go extra early because it will get packed and you won't be able to, you'll be like this walking through people. But if you get there early or you wait till the end, I always say early is better because if you wait till the end, then the downside of being there at the end is everything cool has been sold. It's not actually true. I'm being a little dramatic, but so Potter's Bridge is set to kind of get a revamp. And so this is what is seen Friday, February 21st. But they're planning on changing it up and expanding it. A farm next to Potter's Bridge was once slated to become a gravel pit, but is now planned to become part of the park, which I think is really awesome. I will say a lot of people go and take pictures at Potter's Bridge, like for mostly for like prom or homecoming. But it's just a really cool place to walk. It's a covered bridge, and so there aren't really, I'm going to make a statement I'm not 100% sure is correct, but I think it's one of the last few covered bridges in the area. So this just it kind of just shows you what Potter's Bridge was like then, and then kind of goes into the adjustments that they're making, and I just think they're making it bigger and better, which I think is great. Anytime we can get more like grass and trees and all of that is always a win. And I like expansions, so it's always a benefit. Okay, I want to take a quick break first to say, of course, thank you for watching and being a part of our channel. Feel free to leave a question in the comment area because honestly, I do care about your questions and want to be able to be kind of your trusted resource. And so one of the things that we really want to make this space for and why we're doing more lives is for you that, let's say you already live here and you're exploring different areas. Hopefully by talking about other areas within Hamilton County, it'll give you an idea of what maybe you want to move to, or if you have questions. And then if if you're exploring some of those other areas like McCordsville, we can kind of talk about those. So if you have questions about other areas, I know I call this HamCo roundabout, and that's what we're going to talk about most about. But if you have questions for other things, then please let us know. Okay, on to and that's what I'm supposed to say, like and subscribe, all that cheesy stuff. Okay. One of my favorite parts of the show is talking about roundabouts. I know that's super cheesy, but at the end of the day, roundabouts are really, well, They're everywhere. And so we just want to kind of make sure that, especially if you live here, you kind of know about what roundabout is coming to the market. Coming to the market, that's not really the right word, but you know what I mean. So the roundabout construction begins at 96th Street and College Avenue. So this is 465. Did I share it? Okay, yeah, I did. This is 465. And then this is Meridian. So the main thoroughfare. If you take Meridian, this is when I can't zoom on this, unfortunately. But if you went north, that's what's going to go into Carmel. And so there is going to be a roundabout right here at 96th Street and College Avenue. It's been needed for a long time. There are times when it's just a pain in the ass to get through there. So beginning on or after Monday, May 5th, so it's already started. Technically, they're saying, I haven't been over there, so I'm not 100% sure, but the city of Carmel will begin construction of its 156th. This is also the reason why I wanted to show you this article. This is their 156th roundabout at the intersection of East 96th Street North College. The intersection is managed by the city of Carmel, and the project is designed to improve safety, traffic flow, and pedestrian access. So yeah, there you go. Open for business. This is one of the things that I thought was really interesting. And I love when articles show this, because if you do live over by here, they're saying that these locations are open for business. So China Inn, restaurants, Greek's Pizzeria, Circuit Square TV Repair, Posh HamCo, Posh, Faux Real, and then Payless Liquors. So anyways, it's kind of nice that they try to keep, most of the time they try to keep areas open, which is nice. Then the other thing that is coming to Westfield that I mentioned kind of at the beginning of the show. So Potter's Bridge is one thing that is getting kind of a revamp. And I'm waiting for the other article to pop up because it's not. There it goes. Okay. Let me share this. Every time I have to switch it. Okay, State Road 32 is widening and it begins through Westfield. So you can kind of see this is 32. Then you've got Union. So this is essentially downtown Union, Walnut, and Cherry. And this is Field Brewing, which is a great restaurant, actually. There are like cones and stuff that are set up that says that you can't get out, but they're showing a new route. So you're right after Field Brewing, you're going to turn and have the new route to be able to go behind. And then they're widening this. This has been needed for 10 plus years. It is really, if you live in Westfield, sorry, I got to switch sides. If you live in Westfield, then this is huge, being that they're widening 32. It's been an area that's been really tough to be able to get through. There's one stoplight. Westfield doesn't really have a downtown area, but that's what they're working on. They're really trying to make Westfield have a downtown area. Because they don't, like Carmel does with their, with the city center area, and then the Arts and Design District, and then Fishers has their area with the circle and everything. And so Westfield really didn't have that. And so they've got the Junction, which they're working on. There's a bunch of restaurants that are going in around Junction. The Junction, I don't even know if it's the Junction. You know what I mean? And then Noblesville has its downtown. So Westfield's really the last one to finally come into the new era and have a more designated downtown area. So State Road 32 construction is nearing a new phase. Over the past week, crews have started widening State Road 32 near East Street to prepare for this next phase. 32 will still be open for east-west traffic as it is now, but the intersection of State Road 32 and Union remains closed. Kind of goes into, where you'll kind of redirect, and drivers should plan routes accordingly to allow traffic. So one of the other things, which it doesn't state on here, that I believe you can go to, and I don't know where it's at. I'll try to find it and put it in the comments, but you can actually pick up this card, and there's a lot of like restaurants and shops that are participating, where if you go to different shops and you either have them stamp or like cut a little hole. I don't actually know what it is, but because I don't live in Westfield, so it's not something that I feel like I need to go over there and do, but they're wanting to support all of the businesses. And so if you do this, then you can get something from Westfield. It's just to try to motivate people to still go to places like Field Brewing, which is at a construction spot. And it can be annoying to be like, oh, I don't want to go to traffic. Okay, well, but if you go to traffic, you can also benefit as well. And we all have to support our local businesses. So when I do go to Westfield, then I try to support as much as I can the businesses that are around that area. So for one instance, there are places where like Bub's Burgers is going to be opening up a new place across from the junction. They haven't gotten, the permits haven't been pulled yet, but they're trying to open a new location in Westfield. But currently right now they're not doing anything, because if they open right now, it's not like people can get to it. So that's where you want to support local businesses as much as possible, so they don't leave. When they leave, it's so sad. And we already have enough people leaving because of tariffs and the cost of things. Like I've heard, I don't know how many times I've heard recently, well, that business is going to have to shut down because they just can't afford it. So I think we need to rally together and try to keep these awesome little mom and pop shops open and flourishing. So there you go. 32. If you live over there, I'm sorry, but it will be better in the end. It's kind of like me. I live over by 37 and shit sucks. Like it's awful. Like it's not fun. I don't like it. But I know that in the end, when it's all done, it's going to make life so much easier. So there you go. State Road 32, widening. Okay. So now we are at the part of the show where I talk about statistics and what the market is doing, what it looks like, how it compares to last month or last year. We're in May and we've talked about May. So I don't think many of the numbers are going to be changed all that much. But it'll at least give you an idea of how things are looking. So we're going to start off with, like always, we're going to start with Marion County. So let me pull that open. So I'll leave this kind of bigger so that you can kind of read it. But median sales price is 260, which is up. Again, these are April stats, which we talked about that. Now, what's interesting is if I go back and look at my sheet, this kind of actually changes on a day-to-day basis. I had a client one time was like, well, when the last time we talked, you told me this. Well, houses sometimes don't get posted into the system, and so they don't affect the system at that time because they're not in there. Whereas now we have all the numbers. And so not that we need to sit on this for a whole long time, but I like it, Marion, but I also like to show you Hamilton. So Hamilton, 463,302, 480 homes sold, and there was a 576 active, 6 days on market. Things are moving fast. It looks like there were it's showing 643 new listings. So clearly things are moving quickly. But what I want to do, which I haven't done before, is I want to go in and I want to show you the data for sorry, I don't have it pulled up, so I have to find it. It also sounds like it's raining here now. Fun times. Okay, so we want Hancock. Actually, here, let me share the screen so you can see what I'm doing. Move. Oh, interesting. I just learned something fun, you guys. Okay. Okay, maybe not. Maybe not. Okay. Here is, so this is Hancock County. So originally it showed all of them. That's that data for the 290 for, all of Marion. Well, the other one was Marion. This is all of them. But then if I actually go down here and we unselect them and we go to Hancock, okay. So if we go to Hancock, the, oh, sorry, Victor just had a question. It probably was a while ago and I'm just now seeing it. I'll get to that here in a second. But so April 2025, Mount Vernon. So, okay, here's what I'm going to tell you. So this is where it gets kind of confusing. When a client calls me and says, I'm interested in McCordsville or Fortville, that is Mount Vernon School District. And both of those cities or towns feed into Mount Vernon School District. So I hate to say this, but I lump them together. I don't, he's asked about Fortville, McCordsville. He says, Victor, you say that you like McCordsville. I think McCordsville and Fortville are pretty much the same, right? Like there's not many differences because both of them go to the same school district. Same as when somebody calls me and asks questions about where they're looking at moving, I lump them together because it is a school district and I search by school districts. So, but with here, this is just Hancock County. So Fortville and McCordsville are both in Hancock County. So this is showing Hancock County as a whole. Okay. They don't have school districts. They have townships. So if I go township and I go Vernon, which I'd have to look at this because I'm not sure Vernon is only Mount Vernon, but it's a good question. I should probably learn. I'll look into that. But so this is showing Hancock County, Vernon, the median sales price is $370,000, which is down compared to, well, it's down on both. So it's down compared to last year and down compared to March. Closed sales is down, but it was up from this time last year. So 49, 17 days. So it's moving slower. So if you live in Mount Vernon or Fortville, Mount Vernon schools, McCordsville or Fortville, I know it gets really confusing. Anyways, if you live in that area and let's say you're wanting to get into Hamilton Southeastern School District, I think those two actually flow. Like there's people that flow back and forth. Just be prepared. It's going to probably take you a little bit longer. It's going to take you a little bit longer to sell your home in that Mount Vernon School District. Then you've got list price, which is actually up 99.3%. So that percentage is the list to sale price. So if you sell a house for $100,000 or if you list a house for $100,000, what they're saying is most houses are selling for $99,300. That's what list price received indicates. That's a pretty high number, to be honest, right now. 173 for median square feet. I don't even like square foot. I think this field actually needs to disappear. New listing 72. So you can see so that's 72 active inventory 97. I want to kind of express if I go back to, because I talk about Hamilton the most. And if we look at Fall Creek and Wayne, okay, which is Fisher's, see how there's, 198. So there's way more houses or options to be able to pick. And active inventory is 182 and the average days is 6. So that can kind of show you the difference between a Mount Vernon school district versus Hamilton Southeastern School District. So yeah, it just gives you just a little bit of data. Again, if you ever have questions about it or want to dive deeper into any of those statistics, I love stats. I love looking at the variation between different cities and areas and school districts because I do think it hugely matters for anybody looking at buying or selling. Okay. So now what I like to do is, now that we've talked about kind of the stats, how things are moving, the market, it's been really interesting. I'm going to do a broad stroke in the sense that I have found, although there are a ton of buyers in the market, there are not a ton of buyers in the market that are buying currently, partially because rates are still a little bit high. I don't think that they're going to really be dropping. I hear a lot where people say that they want to wait until rates drop to, significantly. When I hear significantly, I think that they think that it's going to get back into the fours. I really, you might not like me for saying this, but I don't think it should ever get back into the fours. I think fives is a very reasonable number where, buyers can still buy. It's going to cost them money, right? That there is a cost to have a loan. But yet at the same time, it isn't so high like in the sevens or eights like it has been in the past. So that kind of gives you an idea of what the market is doing. I think because buyers are kind of holding off, I actually think it's a lot of clients, and this might be you, where you have a house currently in Hamilton County or outside of Hamilton County, and you want to move to Hamilton County, but you don't want to get rid of that interest rate. I've actually recommended to a couple of clients recently, maybe keep your other house where you have equity, take equity out of that house and use that to either buy down the rate or put a larger lump sum down on the second home, so that you can kind of utilize those assets that you have for the next house. So you don't always have to sell your home in order to buy a home, especially with a lot of people who have a bunch of equity in their property. There's also swing loans or kind of bridge loans, where you can take the equity, you can buy the next house. Then once you've established yourself at that house, then yes, sell the other house. Like, there are options that you can do. I always recommend clients talk with lenders to kind of work through what that looks like, because I think that's probably one of the biggest hurdles with a lot of buyers / sellers right now, is there's tons of buyers. If they could figure out their sell side and the buy side of what that interest rate is going to look like. So there are ways to do that. And we've really been able to help a lot of clients that are kind of in that situation. So if that's you and you want to kind of explore that, let me know. But last but not least, we want to talk about what can you get in McCordsville, Fortville, since that's where we went today. We want to show you 3 properties that are currently on the market, and this is what you can get for that price. Most of my clients are not going into the market at that 350 range. They're usually a little bit higher. We help anybody though. So if you're buying $100,000 house or $100 million house, well, we don't have $100 million houses here in good old Hamilton County. That would be amazing. I don't even know what that would look like, $100 million in a house. I would hope that it would be shockingly amazing. The unfortunate part is here it probably would, but I mean, you go to California and there's $100 million houses. Or I'm just naive. There aren't actually $100 million houses. I don't even know what that looks like. I can't even fathom that. It's crazy. $100 million on a house. That's what I'm trying to be clear at. Like, that in a house, some expensive wood. Okay, I digress. So stupid. The first house is not $100 million. It is $475,000. Let me switch this. The one time I want it to go bigger for you and make me smaller. Isn't that funny? This system is weird. Okay, so here is the first house. Let's look at pictures. So cute little house. When I first saw this, I was like, okay, I love it. First off, not many people love painted brick, and it's not an actually full painted brick. It's kind of like a whitewash brick, which I kind of like, especially if I wonder, Like, I wonder what the before pictures of that brick looked. If it was a nasty brick, then do this all day long. If it's a pretty brick, then you can accomplish making something look modern without doing a whitewash on brick. So it just depends on the scenario. But it's so cute, a full front porch, great for, while the kids are playing outside, you put your chairs out there, and can watch them play. And then inside, it's so cute. It's a little bit of a, country vibe, but you're in McCordsville, Fortville. There's a lot of country roads. At this time of year, you might get stuck behind a tractor. It just happens. And you have that in Fishers, Noblesville and Westfield as well. Carmel, there aren't as many anymore. I don't even know if there's too many farms where you're getting stuck behind. I'm sure that there probably are, but cute little, this looks like this is probably off to the left, I'm going to assume, off of the front door, where it's kind of like a living room. They've turned it into an office space, eat-in, or a family formal dining room. And I love the exposed kind of like stone brick wall to kind of bring some texture into the property. Kitchen, you can tell that this kitchen was completely redone with new countertops and stainless steel appliances and new lighting. It's great. I do love, so they kind of changed. I did a tour of a $2 million property in Zionsville the other day. That video is actually going to post on Thursday. And I made the comment that I really love when they do the top drawer different from the bottom three. It's just kind of a little bit of a different approach. Exposed beam, which is really cool. So I just really liked this. I thought it was really cute. And again, in a price point that's kind of really in that middle. Victor's so excited that I'm finally talking about McCordsville, Fortville. I'm here for you, Victor. Oh, okay. So one of the things, this is a whole house fan. Typically, I'm going to assume that's what it was with the year that this house was built. It's a little bit older of a home, you can tell. But I love that they kept the character, but yet still modernized the home. Beautiful tile in that bathroom. Okay, that's a little bit dated of a room. You've still got stars and stripes as a trim in the bedroom. It's like we went back in time just for this bedroom. That's kind of funny. And she makes wreaths. Okay, I just don't know if I would show this room, or I'd ask to kind of maybe move stuff out. You can't even really see the room. All you see is all the stuff. That's just a personal opinion. I'm really picky with pictures because when you show a house, you want to show the awesomeness of it. Here's the back patio. Okay, from a seller's perspective, I probably would have said, like, can you put some stuff back here so that picture would be a little bit more appealing? That curb appeal is really important. So I'm going to tell you, if you have this property, do something before you call me, per se, only because, again, I think I would recommend it. But at this point in time, if you call me and you're like, hey, we want to sell our house, I'm not going to have you do stuff then, but it does always show better. But look at that. It's on a country road. It has land. Like, look at that. Look at that. So if you want land in McCordsville, Fortville, great property. You can put a barn back here. My brother-in-law should buy this and put a barn back here. That's what should happen. Give him a call and say, hey, buy this house, put a barn back here, because he has a shop. Anyways, I digress. So let's go back to the listing. So here are the stats. 475,000. It's been on the market for 83 days. So clearly it hasn't sold yet. It originally listed at 525. Maybe probably started a little high. 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2,400 square feet, built in 1973. I mean, this is so cute. No HOA. So many people don't want HOAs anymore. I love a good HOA. I think it keeps a neighborhood nice, but here's an example. You don't have to reply or deal with an HOA. Location wise, like we always do every time, let's zoom out so we can kind of see what it's close by. So 70, if you've got to jump on 70 to go downtown, it's really great because it's really quick access to Indianapolis. So see how you're right there. You just jump on 70 to get to downtown. You've got Home Depot right there, Lowe's right across the street. So you get to pick which one you favor, Lowe's or Home Depot. I'm a Lowe's girl. There's the Mount Comfort Airport. And then let me zoom out some more if I can. There we go. So see how that's McCordsville there and Fortville is there, but it's all kind of, I mean, it's Mount Comfort, but it's a big area. That's why I picked the school system, not specifically the city, because this goes to Mount Vernon schools, which is like right here. So that's the first one. Let's go to the next one. So we're going to go up in price now. I didn't go too much higher in price, partially because I will say McCordsville, Fortville, there's not a whole lot because it's slim pickings, because it's just not that big of a city in general. I actually don't even think it's a city yet. It's just a town. But you don't have those big swings of prices where you go from, 2 to 300 to 2 million. Like you don't. There actually was like 2 or 3 million, but it wasn't. It was for land, not for a house. So I thought that was interesting. So the next one, we'll do the stats first, then we'll look at pictures. Tell me which way you like it better. Do you like to see the pictures first or look at the stats? 403 North Crystal Drive in Fortville, 549,000. But it's only been on the market 20 days. So you're seeing it, it's getting to that longer stage. It originally started at 549, so it hasn't dropped. I typically recommend people, really look at that, because that means that there's some room for negotiations. I also partially picked this because this is a 7-bedroom house, which is wild. Okay. 7 bedrooms, 3.5 baths, 4,300 square feet for $550,000. Like, you guys, that's, if you've got a big family and let's say you need more space, so you're like wanting to upgrade a house or do something a little bit bigger, then here it is. So you are going to get this a little bit more McCordsville, Fortville. So one of the things, there is a lot of farmland. So you are going to potentially, if you're building, and so the first house I showed you was an older house. There aren't as many older homes because McCordsville, Fortville are smaller cities, towns. And there isn't a whole lot. There's a lot of new build construction and a lot of places where they're going to back up to fields. I tell every client, I'm so sorry, you guys, my nose is itching. I tell every client that is looking, especially at something like this, just know that this space behind the house is probably going to sell at some point, and it's probably going to be built with new construction. So, 3-car. The other reason I was like, okay, you got 7 bedrooms and a ton of kids. Look at this backyard. You've got a basketball space, for all the sports kids, and you've got a pool. I mean, does it get any better? Especially, and if you don't have, sometimes when you think about pools in a lot of areas, you're thinking, well, the price point is going to have to be in the like 7, 8s, 9s, right? But this one is in the 5s. It has a pool and it has a ton of rooms for the kids. So you enter the house, you've got the front kind of like family room. You've got stairs going upstairs. This kind of little nook area. You've got an area to drop the, see, one of the reasons I also don't like this is I need the words down here. So as an agent, I wish that every agent's put a description as to what the space is so that you know. I'm assuming this is just your, where you drop off all of your kid stuff. I can't think of the name of the word. Mudroom. But it's not, I can't tell if it's an actual room. Anyways, you have the cubbies to be able to drop your stuff, but it looks like that bedroom was right off of that first floor, right? So that you have a closet with a door right off of that space. Half bath. So I'm curious, is there a full bath on the first floor? I'd have to look into that. Huge kitchen with dining room or eat-in space, which is really great. It looks like a big pantry for all of the food for all of the kids. I mean, look at that. Look at that. All that food. But it's nice and open, and it opens up into what looks like an additional kind of like family room space. Yeah. So they've kind of put it as a area. So there's bedroom 2. I feel like I need to keep account of these. The pink one, she does some sort of sport. Look at that. You go, girl. I'm assuming she's a girl. Okay, is that bedroom 3? Bedroom 3, bedroom 4. They are a sports family for sure. Bathroom, bedroom 6, and then the primary. Yeah. Okay. They have all of the rooms. This is for a big growing family. So what room was that? Do you guys remember what room that is? That looks like that's probably in the basement. Yep, that's the basement. So that's an egress window. They are a sports family, but look at this. I mean, I wanted to show you this is because especially for a family that's moving or wanting to upsize, this has all the rooms, pool, 3-car garage. I mean, it kind of shows you property lines are approximate, of course. This will probably get sold at some point and be houses. So you'll have houses behind you at some point. People wanna, it's so funny when I have a client or let's say a farmer that lives behind and the farmer says he's never selling. Just so you know, when that farmer passes and the kids don't want to live there, they sell the property. It always happens every single time. Okay, maybe not every time, but you know what I mean. So you can see this was Arbor Homes. It's a new home builder in this area. Great property. So last but not least, because we only have a couple more minutes, we try to keep this at an hour. There's been some times that I've gone over, so I'm sorry. But the last one is, I think it's a beautiful one. So we're going to share this one. This is a new build again, because this is what happens now. This is a new build, but technically, not, I mean, so it's not a new build in the sense that it was it's a spec home or something like that. So this one is in McCordsville. So the last one was Fortville. This is McCordsville. 895,000, 5 bedroom, 4 1 bath. So 4 full baths, 1 half bath, 4340 square feet, built in 2025 in Vintners. Every time I say this, I always have to question how I say it, because it's always like, is it Vintners? Vintners. Anyways. And it was a new build. So cute outside. When you get up in price, you tend to get different elevations. You have the last one, if you notice, it was more of just a square box. There wasn't a whole lot of character with either bump outs or the overhang. So those are some of those structural things that builders do. We go through all of that because that really does make a difference in the value or the price of a home. Columns, front porch, there's just a little bit more character with the front of the house. And then sometimes with the back as well, but 3-car garage, which is an extra bonus. But look at that vaulted ceiling. Great room, beautiful. It looks like it has coffered ceilings. That's what this is up here. So coffered ceiling, tons of natural light coming in, beautiful cabinets and or countertops there in the kitchen, gas stove, double ovens, country sink, dishwasher, an extra room off the, I don't know where that is in the house. I feel like that's at the back of the house. Formal dining, this is the front door. So formal dining room, living room. Sorry, you guys. Oh, wait. That's what this space was. See where there was that couch? So that's this space. You can kind of see it off of the kitchen. So that's just an open space. So you could have that be another living room or an office or a playroom. I mean, things. But that kind of shows you when you walked in. So see how that was kind of the front. This is the front door is here. So you walk in and this is what you see when you walk into the house. 2-story. And I love that coffered ceiling. Beautiful. And I love the railing is a little bit different, more modernized, big and open. But this kind of shows you, oh, that tile is beautiful. I love that green tile. My favorite color is green. Green. Primary, upstairs, full walk-in shower bath. So you can kind of see the difference of that like 550 to the 800. This was kind of the max, is that 800 range. Again, there haven't been a whole lot of homes that have built that are in that higher price point. They're out there. I'm not saying that they aren't out there. They're just even more few and far between because people haven't sold them and there haven't been as many. So when you get up into that $1 million range. But this is super cute. Back patio. So there you go. They didn't show you. So I want to scroll down and show you the aerial. Let's see if it'll. Yeah, it's not going to show you because it is grass. But kind of can show you. So this is part of Vintners. There's an entrance here and an entrance here. Just kind of nice. This actually goes into this section, but then there's another entrance over here that goes in. But super close, you can see super close to Geist. Really cute. But it just gives you, it's on 0.34 acres. It just gives you an idea of, again, what there is out there. Oh, I didn't see how many days on market was this one. Sorry, 47 days. So as you can see, Fortville, McCordsville, it is working a little bit slower. But that gives you an idea of what you can get at kind of 3 different price points and what that looks like. And ultimately what you can get. Because I think it's important to kind of know what there is on the market, what it looks like. We try to do different areas. Tell me in the comments. I won't see this since we do this live every other week. If you're watching this at a later time, if you've even made it this far, let me know what other cities you want me to like analyze or look at. Victor, you had a question. Is it true that Indy is the second hottest housing market behind Buffalo? I don't know the answer to that, Victor. It wouldn't surprise me. Indy right now is all over the internet. Like if you search affordable places to live, Indy comes up. And it's really interesting because we talk about Indy. My hair's bothering me today. When we talk about Indy, if you look at just Indianapolis, and that's why I show you the data for Indianapolis, yes, you can buy a house that's 150 to 250. I mean, clearly much higher too, but you can find an affordable house in Indy. The hard part is that most people get that data and don't realize how the schools and the ecosystem are in Indianapolis. And I'm not saying that they're bad. It's just when you go into a donut county for a little bit more, you can get more, right? And so that's one of those things that I think a lot of people end up realizing is they start their search and Indy is what comes up. And Indy is doing a great job. They're really trying to bring a lot of growth and redevelopment of different areas or regentrification of areas. They're really trying to make the downtown area a phenomenal area, ultimately with our Colts Stadium and our convention centers. There's a lot of conventions that come to Indy. We have an amazing hotel system. We have, honestly, I've been told multiple times, especially people who work in healthcare that then move here, say our healthcare system here locally in Indiana is really, really great. I think any area that you're looking at, there are going to be downsides. It just depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for family friendly, um, semi-affordable, I'm going to tell you, because when you move to Hamilton County, it does get more expensive, but you have all of the aspects of what the cities provide. You just don't find those other places. And because there's 4 cities all really close, you can kind of pick and choose what you want to be part of. If you have kids in sports and you know that you've got kind of more of an elite athlete, Westfield could be really good because you're part of Grand Park, you're really close. Like our son plays soccer. I'm not going to tell you he's elite, but we're at Grand Park all throughout the spring and summer because he's competing. My son is a swimmer, and so my other son is a swimmer. And so going to Carmel's aquatic center or their natatorium is amazing. I don't have to live in Carmel to even have the joys of being able to experience that. So there are all different aspects that I think are really, really great about Hamilton County. And yet, if you can't afford Hamilton County, that's where Indianapolis really comes into play, and or McCordsville, Fortville, Plainfield, Pendleton, Avon, Brownsburg, Sheridan, like all of the Greenwood, all those places. That's why when you call me, I try to address those concerns of what is important to you and how can we, figure that out. So there you go. Thanks for all the questions, Victor. Thank you for joining us on this live. That's kind of it for our Tuesday roundabout. We do appreciate you watching. And as a friendly reminder, please like and subscribe so you are notified essentially when we are going live or have posted a new video. If you have ideas for video, leave that in the comments. We can't get to all of them, but we really try to kind of fit them in. When you have an idea or you have kind of like this idea for a video, we're going to try to get your questions answered and help you in that. So I hope you enjoyed today's topics, and we will, of course, see you in the next one. Bye. I sound almost like I'm from California, even though I was built in California. Bye. Bye, guys.